Yeah, but you know what, with regard to that, I find it hard to believe, and that's why I don't know what value this thing is. Because, let's say, route number 2, every single day, it took 5 hours and 2 minutes in the month of September. Now, I could never drive to Art's house and back to my house 28 days and have it to the minute happen that way.
Right,
So
we are sitting with DATTCO now, renegotiating the program so that it will be a flat rate. There will not be a specific hourly rate for the bus. It'll be a dollar amount per day regardless of the time. That's what we're trying to get to, okay? That'll put this to bed. The rate will go up a little bit probably, but there will not be an additional hours. We'll have to see what Mr. Scunzio says on the interpretation of the route, okay?
In this committee will eventually approve that.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When does the current contract expire?
Pretty new.
We're in the second year of the 3-year contract.
We're in the second year, with 2 extension years available,
At whose,
and our discretion.
I didn't, like I said, I didn't look at
Yeah, if I was asking, I'd ask him for both.
Give the company a chance.
Right, yeah, I think so. I think
I'd ask for everything.
you know what, Steve, I know you've got to play the good cop here, but give the company a chance. They had a chance last year. You went in and you modified something with them in October, and for the rest of the year, the charges weren't as high as they are now, but they were reduced from what they were beginning with. Now we're back to higher than ever, so I think we gave them a chance. But I'd like to just straighten it out once and for all, and have them just adhere to the language that's in that contract. And if Ben, says this is it, this is it.
We agree on a few points, Mike, and one that I was also taken back was the pre and post 15 minutes. And we brought other things to the table, and absolutely will involve them. But I also believe the type of company that's going to come forward and do right by us, whether that's reimbursement or whatever. So let's give this a chance, we'll involve Ben, and we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Okay?
Any other discussion? Thank you, Mr. Nadeau.
Thank you.
No, I'm good.
Okay,
I think Mike covered
It's 10:10. Well, I'll let you know.
okay, the next item on the agenda
Not
is,
too detailed for you.
No, that's perfect.
I don't
we
know.
need to vote on the motion?
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we didn't vote on
No,
the,
we did.
we did?
Oh, Attorney Connell is
voted
telling
aye.
me that we need
I
to
thought I
vote.
said
Sherry already
Okay.
has.
Okay.
Vote, okay, great,
We
thanks.
just had
I have eyes for everybody.
circle discussion
Okay,
there.
awesome,
Okay.
thanks. Okay, the next item on the agenda, chair appointment to school committee, budget subcommittee. That was my item. It appears on the appendix agenda simply as, I believe it's within my purview to appoint, I wanted to appoint Mr. Clifford. However, on the other agenda, it says discussion, vote, or other actions. So I'd like to ask for a motion to appoint Mike to the budget subcommittee.
You can make the motion.
I'll make that motion.
I was,
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved, thank you. Okay, the next item, professional development, school committee 101, legal counsel presentation. I talked to Ben about doing this. He believes it would best be done as an all-day event, and he is going to reach out to two other people who will be participating, and he's going to get back to us with some dates. It'll probably be on Saturday, and as soon as he has the dates, I'll ask Sherry to poll everyone for the best date available. And unless
And
anyone
that'll
else...
cover my 6 hours.
Right, it will cover everybody's, it definitely counts.
Mr. McGee,
Sit all day, Sarah, did you sit all day, or was it like 3 hours, I thought?
No, he actually said he thought it would be 4 to 5 hours.
Okay, thank you.
And he said it wouldn't be done on an afternoon. So
Okay.
Can I make a
his
suggestion?
thought was a Saturday.
To maybe defray the cost a little? I noticed when I was on the Board of Elections website for something else, that there were a lot of special elections this last fall and even last month for vacancies on school committees where the person had either died or resigned and the person needed to replace. So they've had special elections in
They
other
might want
communities.
to open it up.
They
for
might
people.
want to, and then
Sure.
instead of us paying 100%, maybe we can
Fine,
pay 50%.
that's exactly,
prorate.
that's bad.
So if we could, and Ben, you know, we can give them the
I
list.
did, I asked him
Well, yeah,
if
it's
if anybody else wanted.
You think that
to,
other people would want to join us?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, and we would be the host.
What is that? I missed that. I'm paying that person. What?
No,
I'm
they-
confused.
The suggestion
The school
was to
committee
see.
101.
Yeah.
School committee,
To
you want
help
to
invite
invite
other
other
school
districts?
districts if they wanted
I'm
to.
sorry?
join
You want
us.
to
Oh,
invite other
yeah, I
districts?
thought, I didn't know, I thought, that's a great idea. I thought something about somebody died and we're gonna.
No, and I think the guy at the Rhode Island Association of School
Okay, you're
Committees,
engaged for Christian.
the executive director of the Association of School Committees would know of every new member who's just
Absolutely.
taken. And he can reach out to them or give us the list, and we can see if they want to attend.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Okay. Item number 4, handouts at school committee meetings. I asked for that to be put on the agenda because I wanted your thoughts. I don't really have a problem with handouts being provided, but we could determine amongst ourselves if we wanted, whether or not we wanted to entertain the handouts that particular night, but I wanted you all to weigh in on that. So the issue is, no handouts at the meetings, they've got to be included in the packet, or yes, you can hand things out and we'll determine individually whether we want to address it at that meeting or put it off to another meeting.
I would tend to agree with the latter. I don't have an issue with handouts, but I think it's unreasonable to expect necessarily any action on that night on them. So, you know, issues with, here's some information I was able to get, I couldn't get it in time for the packet. If you can, clearly, please provide it to Sherry so she can include it in the packet, but yeah, just know that if you're handing something out that, you know, you may have some members who aren't willing to, you know, take that extra step. And
Okay, well,
I mean, it's tough. You're sitting up here in front of everybody. We're having open discussions. You know, it's very difficult, especially if it's something lengthy. I'm going to use Mike as an example, only because he did it tonight.
Yeah.
No offense. But like, you know, these numbers, I can't even read them without my glasses or with my glasses. So you know, it's to expect action on that item that night, I think is a little unreasonable, but I think we're all adult. We can address it as it comes up.
okay, well, in conversation with different members, it came up that, okay, we get our packet on Friday. What if we have information we'd like to bring that speaks to an issue that's on the agenda? There really isn't a lot of time, there is no time to get it, except to bring it to the meeting. So I just wanted it to be all of our decision, not mine.
The council's bylaws, which address this, are if the committee is taking a final vote on that item, they don't accept handouts the evening of the meeting, except by a majority vote of the committee.
Okay.
But that's when they're actually taking a vote and an action on
Yeah,
it.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what you said.
Madam Chair, from our end of it, we hope and we strive never to show up at a meeting and hand something out to you for discussion. That's how, I guess, we've been trained in the past. The only thing I would add to your decision is that if there's a handout and then we're expected to respond without having seen it, it's not reasonable.
No, there's no,
It's absolutely not
No,
reasonable.
and I would hold you to the same thing that I would say that we're held to is, you know, if we're handed something, I wouldn't expect us necessarily to be required to vote on it. I wouldn't expect you to, you know.
Or debate it. I feel like it's not, it's kind of, I want to avoid that setup.
Okay, so I'm hearing that it's okay to pass out handouts and we'll determine at the time we're going to, as far as discussing this.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think that's good.
okay. Any further discussion needed? Okay, thanks. Okay, next item is hourly rate for bus monitors. That's Mrs. Marcotte. And recess aides?
Hourly rate in January 1st going up to $9.60 an hour in Rhode Island. So we need to adjust the rates of our bus monitors and our luncheon aides. So you have the request before you to adjust both of those. And with the adjustment, we should still be able to come within our budget for the year.
So this is informational for us.
Yeah, we
It's not-
we still have to approve it.
No, we have to
So
vote.
I'll make a motion to approve as.
Second motion. It's the law. I mean, you have to.
We don't
You don't really have a vote, but okay, we'll
That's
vote
what I
on it.
thought, yeah. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Item 6, approval to go out to bid for the Northmen scoreboard.
Scoreboard? At the Madam Chair, at the recommendation of Mr. Tech, I recommend the committee vote to approve the school department to go out to bid for replacement of scoreboard only. All it will be is, it will get an accurate cost. Doesn't mean funds are available to do it, but just accurate cost.
I'll make that motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
The only thing I want to say is I see Navigant at the bottom of the scoreboard. Can you practice another?
So,
Yeah, actually, I'm going to ask one question. I want to keep it like under 30 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead.
I counted today. There's somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 advertisements all around and including Navigant up there. Some are old, some are faded, some look brand new. Where does that money go? Does that go back into the committed rental? Is that like I don't know how we manage that or what we do with it. Or if it's an ongoing, do we sell it? Do we just allow people to put up whatever they want?
Go ahead.
Because I'm going to start commenting there instead of on the Valley Breeze if that's the case.
In terms of the scoreboard, just real quickly, we approached Navigant back in the day, and I forgot, I'd have to go back and look what they contributed. But candidly, if we get the price in, I think that will go down, and we would look for a couple of major sponsors for top and bottom that might cover the full cost. In terms of the signs around the complex, you can cover that.
Back when there was the Northmen NAC, when they were raising the funds for sports, youth sports, and this goes back about 6 or 7 years ago, one of the things they had started to do was to put up signs. It was called Sign Me Up Program, and then they had the local businesses that were sponsoring that. And then that money went into the coffers with NSE, and then they made a donation to the school department to cover the sports for that. And it was a 2-year agreement, a rental agreement for the signs up there. They've continued that practice ever since then. They've become the NSES, as you know, the North Smithfield Athletic Association, which then makes purchases out for all the athletic teams and makes donations back. So where that money goes is exactly that organization who mans replacing those signs, updating those signs, contractually out with them, and then turns the money over in donations and gifts. To that place.
Yeah, just
I agree.
I pulled in to see the existing sign. I looked around. I was like, wow.
Yes, that is what it comes from.
I think they should charge more for those, by the way. Anyways.
Do we need a motion for approval?
We already did.
We did. We already voted.
I think it's part of Sean.
Next.
Great.
Sean?
Did we vote? John seconded.
I second.
You were first, right?
Did we vote?
No, no.
You haven't
yeah.
voted yet. All
I
in
made the
favor?
motion.
Oh, aye.
Jim made it, sorry.
Thought I did.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second over here.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, item 7, NSES network switch upgrade. Mr. Stanley, backup is attached.
Yep. At the recommendation of Mr. Stanley, I recommend that the committee vote to approve the purchase from the Plus Technology State Bid List, or cheaper, in the amount of $25,992.04, maximum amount.
Someone make a
Previously
motion?
approved it in last June.
Would someone make a motion?
So moved. As recommended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
All right, so is this going to be bid, or is it bid, or was it bid? or-
The vendor we would like to use is on the NPA
Okay.
state bid list.
Thank you.
Just for the record, I'm going to vote against it because it's coming out of the fund balance. And I don't know why you spent it out of the fund balance. You had an $830,000 surplus you could have spent it out of.
Because it was too close to the end of the year, Mike, we
But
couldn't
you
get
knew.
it in. We just couldn't get it in time.
Oh,
Did you
It was
have
a timing
anything else
issue.
you wanted to say? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
no. Could I also ask, we skipped over, when we were doing that Alexander, we kind of moved on really quick. I just wanted it in the record that I voted against that item because it was being, a $9,000 purchase was being made from the fund balance rather than this year's budget. It wasn't that I was opposed to the Alexander, I think it should have just come out of this year's budget.
Okay, item 6, school committee reports, school committee town council liaison update, Mr. Connell is not here. Item 2.
I'll do 2 and 3 together,
Yeah.
Okay,
because they're all, so.
okay, great.
So we met last week to go over a number of items. So we went over with Lisa and Mr. Lindbergh, the budget package. So basically on 12/18, we're gonna get our budget package, which is the normal package with all the salary information, all of the backup on the operating costs, et cetera, et cetera. We're gonna have a special meeting on the 12th to go over the budget, so that's just a budget meeting to ask all of our questions and basically kind of agree upon what we think the budget should look like. On the 19th, we're having our regular school committee meeting, and that's where Lisa's gonna come in with a forecast, and we had a lot of discussion about how she comes up with a forecast and try to keep it, not as, detailed as you would do the budget. And that was the other one. And then the third item, which Mike provided a lot of the data for this one here, which was, we're looking for an additional report that has some account history and a little more detail than we get on a normal monthly report. So she's gonna have a draft to us on 2/1 to go over that report, which will give us a little more detail, a little more history, so we can see the trend of expenses over time. I think that's, you have anything else to add, Mary?
I don't.
Did I cover it, Mike? Did I pretty much get?
Yep.
Anybody have any comments or discussion on that? Okay, it brings us to item 7, community comments. Is there anyone here that would like to, Mr. Lowe?
I'll make it short and quick so we can go home. I just have one question when it comes to funding of using the surplus rather than using bond money. In the reimbursement setup, do we get reimbursed differently for using the surplus money than we would if we use the bond money? I'm confused on that when it comes.
You mean reimbursed from RIDE?
From right, yes, I'm sorry.
It'd be the same, wouldn't it?
Before we comment, can we comment on this?
That's,
I think we can.
It was an agenda item,
It wasn't again.
so we're all right.
Yeah.
The source of the money doesn't have an effect on the reimbursement itself. It's how you use it. So the reimbursement is for health and safety items. So the point of discussion around that, regardless of where the money comes from, we probably should have some kind of capital funding account that we can use for ongoing and put through rides. What, I don't know, do they have a real name for it? Or is it just kind of the ongoing?
It's capital reserve.
It's capital reserve.
Yeah.
So through their capital reserve program, which allows us to get reimbursed monthly. But where that initial funding comes from, doesn't really, they don't care where it comes from. You just have to identify that money to be used as such, that's all.
One takes a lot longer through the housing aid, one takes a lot longer, the project has to get done, it comes back over time. There's another method where you actually get it, like,
So having that capital funding budget in that, what they call a revolving account, it allows them to approve individual items and reimburse you that 34% on a monthly basis, instead of waiting until a full project is done.
I was confused, I didn't know whether it differed depending where we got the money. Thank you very much.
It can't come from a bond, though.
What's that?
The faster track, it can't come from a bond, you have to have the cash.
They don't, so technically, I don't believe that they particularly care where it comes from. It wouldn't be a smart way to do it to fund it from a bond, because you're paying interest on that money, which would negate some of the reimbursement. But I don't think that they put any restrictions on how you fund that capital account. That's a town discussion. That's not, I would never, ever recommend that we fund a capital reserves account from bond money.
But is the reimbursement rate the same?
The reimbursement is 34% for North Smithfield. It actually
No
goes by
matter where
town.
it comes, whether it comes from,
It-
wherever the money comes from.
It's not about where the money comes from, it's what it's used for. So you get reimbursed for health and safety items only, and it's an additional
you could get up to
4%.
39.
It's an additional 4% for items that are related to, so like the LED lights would be an energy efficiency. It's part of a program that they're running with,
Yeah,
I
so you
think,
get
the
more
federal
money.
government. So those would qualify for an additional 4%.
Okay.
But yeah.
I think I got it, thank you.
Well, the notes will be public, so, you know,
I just didn't know if there was an advantage or disadvantage to go down one road or the other.
yeah, the only disadvantage would be pulling it from, to fund something like that from a bond, you shoot yourself in the foot, basically. But-
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second.
Aye.